Hey everyone, this is Chris Kennedy again. Today I am in Harriman, Utah with Master Marc McPharlin, who has been teaching me Taekwondo for the last month. Marc, thanks big time for letting me train with you.
Absolutely, it's been a blast.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I've had a great experience. It was really fun competing and working with you guys.
Good.
So, I want to know some stuff about you first,
Okay.
Personally. You told me earlier that you've been teaching for about 16 years?
Yeah, we've been teaching for 16, my wife and I. I've been training for about 20.
20, okay.
Yeah.
How old were you when you started, out of curiosity?
Well, let's see, I'm 43 now, so 23.
Okay, so you weren't a child like a lot of people.
Not a child, no. We
Okay.
started as adults, looking for fitness for my wife mostly.
So it was after you were married?
After we were married, yeah. And then I joined actually after her.
Oh, yeah?
It looked fun. You know, growing up as a child in the 70s, Kung Fu theater, and you know, there's a lot of stuff, but it wasn't available
Right.
as a kid so much.
I see.
You know,
So why Taekwondo though? You
That
said for
was-
fitness, but I mean...
yeah, that was the option that was presented.
Okay.
So, like I said, my wife had joined, her brother had joined. That's what I went and watched. I like it because it's very dynamic. It's traditional, but it's modern. You know, I love kicking. I love being able to use my legs. So, I don't know, it just stuck with me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Were you very flexible before you did Taekwondo? I mean, a lot of guys don't like lifting their legs up and stuff like that. It's awkward at first.
Not overly.
No.
Yeah, I wasn't horrible,
Okay.
but yeah, it's definitely improved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So, you started 20 years ago. Took you about 4 years before you decided to open up your own gym then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what made you decide to open up your own gym?
Well, we had actually moved, so I was almost a black belt. So my instructor moved away when I was a red belt. So
Oh.
I kind of lost that
Interesting.
ability to be taught. You know what I mean? Taught. And so we kind of were in a limbo a little bit. And then the company I was working for had a girl who was a Kempo black belt who wanted to learn a different art. Found out that we practiced martial arts and asked us to teach her.
Oh, cool.
So we were kind of, I wouldn't say forced into teaching, but you know, the opportunity presented itself.
Okay, that's pretty cool. So did that lead to you getting your black belt, or
It
how long
did.
it take for that to happen?
So I actually got my black belt, I think the same year we started teaching, because we continued to train, and then, you know, by the time we opened, I was about ready anyway.
Okay.
To test for my black belt. So that was 99. My wife had gotten hers in 90, I think it was early 98, just because of timing and everything. So
Cool.
yeah,
And now you're a fourth degree?
4th degree black belt.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I noticed in the tournament there were a ton of children competing, but not many adults.
Right.
Have you had the opportunity to compete much?
I competed when I was a color belt.
Okay.
State tournaments and local tournaments. Not so much once I reached black belt, because it's hard to train yourself when you're teaching also.
Oh yeah.
I find
of
it,
course.
difficult to make the time and have the time.
I can see that. Yeah.
It's definitely Taekwondo, depending on where you're at, is very much a kid's focused art. You know, being in Harriman that we are, you know what the population is like, tons of young families, a lot of kids. So that kind of tends to be what we get. It's a lot of kids.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
that makes sense.
The higher you go in level of competition, you know, if you go into nationals, world championships, things like that, it's adults.
Okay.
But locals,
Pretty much just children.
a lot of kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense,
Yeah.
especially in this kind of community.
Yeah, this community especially.
So I understand that you chose Taekwondo because it was like what was available in
Mhm.
the area. But why martial arts? Why martial arts instead of going to a spinning class or a yoga class? Why did you and your wife choose Taekwondo?
Well, I was former military, so getting out of the
Right.
military, I like the structure, I like the
Mhm.
discipline, you know, that really speaks to me. I hate exercising for exercise sake. I've done it. I was a gym rat for, 3-4 years every morning and just got burned out. I like
It gets boring, yeah.
It gets boring, yeah. I like to exercise, but it's masked as something else.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Taekwondo is a lot of fun. Am I saying that right, by the way? Is it Taekwondo?
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo.
Mhm.
Okay.
Taekwondo.
Taekwondo. Cool. All right, and I have some questions about Taekwondo itself.
Okay.
So I've noticed a huge difference between this and Jiu-Jitsu, which is what I mainly do, and then Muay Thai, which is kind of like a secondary art. But I don't really have much experience in other arts. What's like a main difference, something that sets Taekwondo apart from other martial arts styles?
It's focused on kicking. You know, that is our main weapon of choice.
Okay.
You know, most, I wouldn't say most, but a lot are striking arts, hands. You know, Muay Thai, they do kick, but they're, I wouldn't say limited, but they only have maybe, 3 kicks that they kind of focus on. 2
All I ever
kicks,
see is roundhouse and teeps. Yeah.
roundhouse and teeps. We have a variety of attacks, you know, going from very basic roundhouse kick to, you know, jumping, spinning kicks. Legs are the most powerful appendage on your body.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they're the longest, you have the most reach. So that's definitely the biggest thing that stands out.
Okay.
You know, as far as the physical side, you know, I think the focus on life skills in Taekwondo is a big difference too. It's not that they're not taught, you know, in other martial arts, but it's a focus. You know, we talk about them all the time, the tenets and and the things that you're going to learn or that are going to benefit you outside of the physical aspects. You know, because respect is always taught.
Of course.
But we talk about, you know, having the respect and the integrity and perseverance and all those things. So I think that's kind of one of the things that makes it stand out a little bit more too.
Okay, awesome.
And we do focus on multiple, like, I don't know what you call them, multiple practices. So we do sparring, we do forms, we do weapons, we do self-defense. So in Jiu-Jitsu, we have fight. I mean, that's pretty much what you do.
Right.
But more like traditional arts like Kung Fu and Karate, we have the different kind of aspects of it. So
Okay. Interesting.
a little bit different that way.
So within Taekwondo, there are 2 major branches, right?
Mhm.
There's the ITF and the WTF.
Correct.
So this is a WTF school, right?
WTF, correct.
So what's the difference between the ITF and the WTF?
Well, ITF tends to be a little more traditional, a little more old school.
Oh.
WTF is kind of the modern sport aspect of Taekwondo.
WTF is what is in the Olympics, right?
WTF sparring. ITF sparring tends to be like more point sparring style stuff, more traditional, old school.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
almost more, and I hope I'm not misspeaking, but it's more related to Northern Korea, North Korea, and South Koreans, more WTF.
Okay, I've actually heard that before.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you're right.
So it kind of depends on the history. It's a very muddled, very disputed history of the origins of Taekwondo.
Okay.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
How do factors such as age and gender affect Taekwondo training?
That's one reason why I like Taekwondo is it doesn't.
Oh.
It's very neutral on that. And I know this is one of the things that Taekwondo gets bashed for is, you know, giving kids black belts. The way I look at it is if they have the same knowledge, they've put in the same hours, have the same abilities, why not?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, not that they're going to be able to beat an adult, but
Mhm.
that's not the point. You know, to me, a black belt is more than the ability to fight. It's showing perseverance, it's showing hard work, it's having the knowledge. So that's one reason why I like it. It is very neutral on that.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. So some styles, like you do Jiu-Jitsu as well, Jiu-Jitsu isn't formal at all.
Right.
Taekwondo is very formal. Do you feel like the formalities or the lack of formalities, depending on the different martial arts, do you feel like they affect the arts at all? Like the specific arts that they're...
No, but I think they go well together. Jiu-Jitsu is very laid back, and I think it kind of has to be because of what we're doing.
Okay.
It can't be overly intense. It can't be, because there is a lot of risk for injury.
Of course.
You know, based on the movements and the techniques that we do. You know, I think Taekwondo, you know, being a traditional art, that's part of it, is being able to have that discipline. And again, coming from the military background, that's something I overly emphasize.
Mm.
And that's one of the things that parents like about our program in particular, is that discipline and teaching self-control. And
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, that was my next question. So I can, coming to classes and observing classes, I can see it's very obvious to me how Taekwondo would affect the children, how it could be beneficial for them, especially, teaching them respect and stuff. And of course, there's the self-defense and gives them some physical exercise and helps them understand their body and stuff like that. But what about adults? Obviously, you started as an adult,
Mhm.
but is Taekwondo equally beneficial for an adult, someone who doesn't need the muscle development like a child does? He's not worried about self-defense like maybe a small child, like a parent might be for a small child, not worried about bullies. Doesn't have respect problems or focus problems.
Yeah,
Would Taekwondo still be just as beneficial for an adult?
absolutely, but for different reasons.
Okay.
A lot of it is the physical, just adults who maybe are out of shape, again, don't want to go to the gym, want physical activity. So I think that's probably the number one thing that we get, is the physical activity benefit for adults.
Okay.
But having adults step out of their comfort zone. And I think that's probably the biggest reason why adults don't start, is because it looks scary.
Yeah.
They don't want to have to stand up in front of their peers and demonstrate and look silly.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's one huge benefit, is being able to, it's the ego. And it's the same thing we talk about in jiu-jitsu, is you will not succeed if you have an ego. You have to let that go. So my wife and I always talk about allowing the process to work. And that process is breaking down the ego and building it back up, and learning the respect, because sometimes it's hard, if I get a student who's older than me, who it's uncomfortable to call me sir, or it's uncomfortable to bow, and all those things that are part of it.
That was the most awkward thing for me.
You feel odd, it feels strange, but allowing yourself to step out of that comfort zone does so many things for you.
Yeah, I can see that. That's cool. Make sure it's still going. Sorry, did you want to go answer the phone?
No, it's...
All right. Okay, so in Taekwondo and in a lot of other traditional martial arts as well, you guys do a lot of forms. So what do forms do for a fighter? Or why are they important?
There's a few reasons. I think first and foremost, we've been talking about lately, my wife and I, it's meditative. One of the big things that we like about martial arts is that ability to just focus on just what you're doing. Be present, not have to worry about the outside world.
Oh, okay.
And when you
I can see that.
yeah, it's such a nice thing to be able to come in here and just relax and do your form. It's called walking or moving meditation.
Okay.
Where most meditations are, seated, and meditation really, all it is not necessarily clearing your brain, but just being present. And so that's what forms do for you, partially.
Okay, awesome.
Teaches balance, it teaches breathing, it teaches movement, it teaches coordination, it teaches you how to memorize, things. Because a lot of people have that, not necessarily inability, but they have a hard time memorizing. A lot of studies have shown that participating in a form of exercise that forces you to use your brain, memorization, and your body at the same time reduces the risk of like Alzheimer's and things like that in later years.
Interesting.
So, and it's another part of the practice that can be continued throughout your old age. Because at some point you're gonna stop being able to spar and kick.
Okay.
But you can do forms forever.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. So in your experience as a practitioner and as a coach, what does it take to become a successful martial artist?
Successful martial artist or successful competitor?
Both. There's the differences too.
I think there's big difference. A martial artist to me is lifetime. Competitor is very limited in time, because again, the physical abilities disappear eventually.
Right.
So being a martial artist is about having a love for the art. It's about having a love for all of the arts, right? Not being that type who dismisses other arts because of something they don't like about it. I think, when you're a martial artist, you love every aspect of it. And you want to pass it on. We talk about passion in when you demonstrate, and it's that love that you show, and you want everybody to be a part of it, because you love it so much. Being a good martial artist is about having respect, for other people, and carrying what you learn inside the dojo to outside the dojo. People should look at you and go, there's something different about that person. What is it? Why are they so disciplined? Why are they so respectful? Being competitor is different. It still carries those tenets that we talk about. In competition, we always bow. That's the first and last thing we do. So respect is number one. But there has to be a little bit of a killer instinct. We're not out there to hurt, but you still have to have that ability to go, right? Not be scared to get kicked, not be scared to get knocked down. A lot of hours in the gym, just like anything. The ability to be coached, be able to listen, are big aspects, and it carries across all martial arts, any athletic endeavor. If you want to be successful at it, you have to work, period. So I think they're two different things.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So a lot of the viewers are not martial artists, or some are pretty new to it. Do you have any suggestions for martial artists who are pretty new to the game, or maybe potential martial artists who are thinking of getting started?
Yeah, absolutely. Be willing to be uncomfortable. Number one. You're going to go into the dojo or wherever you train, especially if it's a traditional school, it's going to be weird. The bowing, the yes sir, the yes ma'am, no sir, no ma'am, that type of thing is very uncomfortable. Allow the process to work. Everybody's in the same boat. Listen to your instructors and ask tons of questions. That's how you learn. Don't be afraid to sit in the back and don't raise your hand. Don't raise your hand. Try competition. At least once. That's a requirement for us to get to black belts. You have to compete at least once. Just so that you understand what it's like to be in that, again, uncomfortable position. Research all the arts. Jiu-jitsu may not be for you if you have, issues with being smothered and confined. And so find the art that's right for you. Taekwondo might not be because you're, maybe you've got injuries specifically that limit you from some of the movements. So, research the art, research the schools around you. Make sure you find one that feels comfortable, that you like the instructors. If it's most schools, do some type of, agreement, 1-2 year agreements, which isn't bad, but make sure that you're committed. Right? We don't make it a financial issue. Okay. Right? Because that can ruin the workout sometimes.
I can see that, yeah.
And just above all, have fun. Don't take it so seriously that, you just get bogged down in, it's not perfect, it's not right. Well, it's never perfect. That's the great thing about the arts is they're always evolving, that you can always be better. There's never a perfect anything. So, some good tips.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And lastly, anything else you'd like to just tell the audience about Taekwondo, whether it's history or training or competition or anything at all that's been on your mind that I haven't brought up in the interview?
I don't know. I just love training. The great thing about, I think, any good school is the relationships you make. We know each other from jiu-jitsu, and we feel like that's our family. This is my family. And I think that's one of the big benefits we gain from such the type of training we do. You don't get that at the gym. It's an individual workout.
That's a good point.
But in martial arts, you have such close contact with each other that, we were talking earlier about, my former students getting married and going, these students who haven't been my students for 10 years, and they're still inviting me to their wedding receptions and their graduations, and, having that relationship that continues, I think, is one of the big things about martial arts that I love.
Awesome.
So,
Mark, it's been a pleasure, for
Yeah.
real.
Thank you,
so
Chris.
much.
I
Appreciate
appreciate it.
everything.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
All right, thank you.